Hey everybody, this is Milana Lishinsky, and I wanted to share something with you today that I was thinking about, and I had a couple of conversations with people, and just wanted to share some of the observations that resulted through these conversations for me. And I love the little theme that's going on behind me, which is so really cool. Thank you, Be Live, for making the holiday theme available. And if you are watching, say hello, so I know you're here. And so I know that you are listening and participating. I would love your reactions and your questions. And I see somebody's here. Hi, Liesel. It's good to see you. Yay, we're still doing Facebook Live. I think it's day 432 with Facebook Live. All right, so what I really want to talk about is trends, and how timely is it to talk about trends when we are in the last week of December before 2019. And what came to mind as I was watching a video a few days ago, and I heard somebody say, hello, Lisa from Sweden. I heard somebody say that 2018 is the year of chatbots. Now, whether you know what chatbots are or not doesn't matter. This is not what this conversation is about. But it made me think about this whole idea of trends and what makes something a hot trend and something that we should pay attention and really incorporate into our business, and something that maybe we don't necessarily have to. And I started thinking about this idea that a trend is something that is hot right now. And the question is, why has it become a trend? And what's the difference between something like a trend and a more of a long-term foundational strategy? And what I realized, and by the way, all of this is coming from my personal observations. I haven't done any research. I don't have any statistics. This is all from my experience of running a business or multiple businesses for 20 years online, starting with releasing my first ebook in 2001. But there is a difference between a trend and a long-term strategy for success. So why do trends work? Well, because they're based on disruption. A chatbot, for example, is a disruptive way to get people's attention because we're so used to receiving emails that we ignore emails. And so marketers and software developers came up with this thing called a chatbot, which is basically a Facebook Messenger robot, a machine that sends you messages to get your attention, as opposed to receiving that message in the email. You get it through a Facebook Messenger. Why does it work right now? Because it disrupts your norm, right? It's something different from what people are used to. It's something different from what's been done before. And it will work until too many people are doing it, right? Until market saturation. In fact, even before it was announced as a trend for 2018, I already felt a little bit annoyed with chatbots. Yes, I can always type in stop and unsubscribe. But the thing is that people learn to use Messenger, Facebook Messenger, as a tool to communicate with their friends, with their family. My kids write to me on Facebook Messenger. My brother might write to me, my friends, my financial advisor, who has a question, or, people that I really want to hear from. And suddenly I get a message from somebody I don't know, or maybe I don't remember, so the question is really, what makes a trend stay and what makes a trend die off? And what makes a trend become a movement and a strategy for people to stay. And so, I wanted to compare chatbots with something like Facebook, for example, because when Facebook first came out, it was also a trend, right? At least at that time, that's how people saw it. It's a trend. But Facebook is rooted in the most important human need of connecting, belonging, socializing, making friends, making connections. So it's here to stay, right? Facebook is not going anywhere. And I feel like every trend is going through a cycle. And by the way, I would love to hear your thoughts. If there's anything that you want to ask or debate, I'm up for that. Again, I'm just sharing what I'm thinking out loud. Every trend goes through a cycle. So at first it's new and people need to be educated about it. It needs to be explained. Then, first movers and shakers start using this trend, and now everybody's excited to try it, right? Then a lot of people start using it, and then it stops being effective. That is not always true. And I feel like it's not true when a trend becomes rooted in something more necessary for people, like Facebook. Like Facebook became, turned from a trend into a way of life, right? Email used to be new. Remember when there was a time when you would get an email and you would say, I got an email. Oh my God, I got an email. I mean, that was exciting, right? And then people created spam filters and whitelisting and all these tools to screen an email before it gets to you. Telesummits used to be new, right, and exciting, and people would call into a bridge line. And now telesummits evolved into virtual summits, right? So now there is more video involved, there's social media. So some sort of evolution happened because there were too many telesummits and people started innovating and finding ways to stand out, right? Because in marketing, it's really all about standing out, being different. Because if everybody is using the same strategy, then what happens is it's not really, it loses its effectiveness, because its effectiveness is all about being different. And when everybody's using it, then it's no longer different, right? Things like video calls. I remember somebody invited me to a call using Zoom. I'm going to say 2-3 years ago. And I had never heard of Zoom back then. And I said, no, it's okay. Just call me, pick up a phone and call me. And the person took it very personally. He was very offended, thinking that I just didn't want to connect. And the truth was that I just didn't know about Zoom, and this format felt like too much hassle for me to install new software, to learn how to use it, right? Now everybody's using Zoom. I'm using Zoom. People still need to be a little bit educated, but I don't think that Zoom is a trend. Zoom is actually here to stay, and any kind of video communication is here to stay because it's grounded in the basic human need to connect and to see each other, right? And build rapport. So my question is, why would chatbots stay instead of dying off in a year or two? Maybe there will be some kind of technology that will make it less annoying, because I find that every time I receive a messenger, a messenger bot message, I probably will hit stop or unsubscribe unless I just requested it, minutes ago or maybe a day ago. I forget, and I'm wondering why are you messaging me? So even though some people are saying that they are hot, and it's so much fun to receive a message reminder about something you signed up for, over time it will start feeling like email, like telemarketing. That's kind of what I am envisioning in a while. So something needs to change, something needs to adjust, or something needs to happen for chatbots to stay, because otherwise everybody's going to start using this technology and it's going to lose its effectiveness simply because everybody is using it, right? Right now, it breaks that normal pattern. And as soon as the oversaturation happens, this trend is no longer trendy, right? So something else needs to happen. And even this mindset of how we see a messenger, it's essentially like getting a text message from a friend. Who do you expect to get a text message from? From friends, from family? You don't expect text messages from companies. And when you do get those, a lot of people are annoyed, right? Now, does this mean that you shouldn't be using chatbots or some other trendy tools and technologies? Absolutely, that's not what I'm saying. Use it, but you want to start using them as early as possible to make the most of its effectiveness. The smart ones will actually start teaching this strategy, right? I actually considered it, but for whatever reason, I'm not attracted to teaching it or creating any kind of training on it. I think there's going to be plenty of people to do that for me. So use it, enjoy it. Just beware that trying to build your entire business around a trend that you don't really know, is it here to stay? Is it going to die off? It's not the best way to grow your business. Think about long-term strategies that will always work because they are grounded in what people always want. I like to say that technology comes and goes, but people remain the same. They still want to connect, belong, solve problems, and have more great sex, as I said today in an interview, and the host really laughed, and that was really funny. So the human nature will always stay. People will always want to gather, to collaborate, to support each other, help each other, really be social. So I'm curious what you're thinking, and let me go and check to see if there are any thoughts, any comments on this as I am running this Wednesday night. Very unusual timing for me to be doing these. I'm curious if there's anything that you feel that you want to share on this. And even when I'm done with this little Facebook Live, just let me know what you think. I'm curious about your thoughts. So I'm not really seeing anything. And maybe you disagree and you're not even typing anything. Lisa is asking, what will happen with email marketing? I have so many unread emails. Yeah, well, I have no idea, Lisa. All I know is that email marketing still does work, but not as great as it used to work, because people used to be a lot more excited about emails. They didn't put so many barriers, right? They didn't put so many restrictions on their emails. And now there's spam folders, there's junk email. You can filter emails by preventing getting an email from somebody you don't like to get an email from. There's whitelisting, there's blacklisting. There's so many tools on top of email that manage our experience. And so I'm curious what happens with chatbots, because I personally used it in my challenge last in October. And that was actually a lot of fun, both as a recipient of messages and as somebody who used it to invite people. But literally within a couple of months, as I started getting more messenger messages, I started feeling annoyed and closing them and unsubscribing them and thinking, why are you sending me this message? It feels a little bit like violation of my privacy, because I see Messenger as a personal communication tool, not as a business communication tool. And I think that's, the mindset has to change somehow in order for people to really see chatbot as a business communication tool that they accept. Right now, I don't know that is happening. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I hope that this gave you some food for thought, and this was a valuable conversation. And I hope you enjoyed my holiday theme. I feel like I'm in a Christmas fairy tale. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining, for those of you who did get to join, and I can't wait to hear your feedback.